Alex, over here. Congratulations on the win. Interesting choice of walkout song tonight. Any relevance to that for you?
Well, definitely, man. I do enjoy the song, and I thought it was very fitting for the time of crisis that we're going through right now. I feel a lot of us in the community, we're getting very desperate. We don't know how to solve the problem. And I feel that we are remaining dependent on the very same system that is causing the problems. And I feel we have to supersede that, change the way we think, eat, and treat each other. We have to become responsible for our own community and each other. We can't keep begging people, the same people that are coming into our communities, beating us over the heads, to change. They might not want to change. So we have to look and start with the man in the mirror and change ourselves and start taking responsibility for our own lives.
I mean, with everything going on in the world, and it's very important to you, obviously, was it tough to kind of focus on the fight week with everything else going on?
Not at all. It's these situations and these things that are going on in the world, I feel like they're always going on. We just can film them more. I have experienced many of these things in my life personally, so it's always prevalent in my mind. And this is the reason why I try to develop a platform for myself. I need to be a voice. I need to be a leader in the community. I need to start making a change, help people understand who we are, where we come from, why we're living and why we are alive and why we want to keep thriving and not just merely surviving, I guess I would say.
Alex, right here. Well, congratulations on the win. Was this your first fight since changing gyms?
Yes, it was.
How did you feel in there with the new corner?
It's not a new corner. I came back home. I went to Arizona for 6 years. I originally from Miami. Manuel Lopez is my original coach. So I felt like I got what I needed from the lab. And I still want to go back and do seminars and learn some more, of course. But I definitely need to come back home and really focus and help my team grow as well.
In terms of your actual performance in there, how happy were you? Chase Hooper had a lot of hype behind him. He was there was a lot made that you have more fights in the UFC than has years on this planet. So how was Chase Hooper in there?
Chase Hooper was a tough kid. Now we gotta get that straight. The guy hits pretty hard. He cleaned up his boxing a lot, and he's very agile on the ground. I felt when I was on the ground with him, he wasn't getting tired. I could feel my energy draining faster than his, which is why I would just try and stay dominant on the ground, separate, get back up, and force him to come into my world where I knew he was going to gas out. Every time I touched him in the body, I heard him gasp. I heard him. I knew that it hurt. Every time I hit him, I dropped him in the first round. I know I have the power and I have that capability. So I just wanted to bring him into my world, and I wanted to stay patient. Even if I hurt him, let him get back up and let him feel the pain again. I'm not in a hurry. I want to be in that cage for 15 minutes. Unlike a lot of fighters, they want to finish it as fast as they can. I don't get to fight often, so I want to stay in there as long as I can.
And you fought all over the world. You fought on The Ultimate Fighter, but now you're fighting the Apex in the middle of a pandemic, the protests going on there. So what was it like fighting in an empty arena like the Apex? It
was a beautiful thing, to be honest, man. I never really noticed the fans anyway. I fought in Japan twice, and it was pretty similar. The crowds, you can't hear the crowd at all in Japan. They're very quiet and respectful. So to me, this whole pandemic thing, the whole fight week was beautiful. I mean, we were able just to focus on the fight. I was super comfortable. The weight cut was the easiest I have ever had. I ate every single day cutting weight. I probably didn't eat for like maybe 6 hours just to make weight, and that was about it.
And then one final one. This is, I think, your first win streak since 2016. You've alternated wins and losses. So what do you want next after this performance?
I'm not partial to anything. The next big thing, I guess, the next thing that will progress me further into the rankings and develop my brand a little bit further, I guess. But I don't watch the sport, honestly. I don't know a lot of the fighters in my weight class until they tell me. So whatever they want to give me next, but I definitely would like something that will progress my career.
Bruce Leroy down here on your left. Your last two fights are incredible. You know, your aggression, your will to win, your technique, very obviously polished. And you can see that your fight IQ, you're really growing as a fighter. What has changed mentally?
I'm glad you said that, because I feel like the only thing that has changed has been mentally. I began to believe in myself. And I began to trust the people that believe in me as well. And it's been a long time coming, and it might have not seemed as so, but ever since I joined the Ultimate Fighter, I had a huge identity crisis. It was very hard for me to be confident in myself. And I believe that changed since the Singapore fight. I began to believe in my power. I began to believe in my skills. And I began to look back on my entire career and all my life endeavors. And I began to appreciate where I came from and how far I came along. And once I realized that, I knew I had nothing to lose. I just got to enjoy myself.
Yeah, I was at your fight in San Antonio, and I'm watching, and I'm like, we already know you're a good striker, but I'm like, your striking looks better than ever. Your takedown defense is great, and you're very hard to finish. I mean, if Ocho Peterson couldn't finish you with that choke that he had in your last fight, I was looking at this match on paper like, I don't know what Chase Hooper's road to victory.
Well, mind you, he tried to finish me with that choke in the last fight. Peterson did, and I had a broken hand already. So I defended that choke with one hand. I broke my hand on the very first punch in the very first round. And I think that was, and like I said, since the Singapore fight, mentally I changed. It was a big difference. I kept my composure. No one knew I broke my hand until I told them. And I was able to keep calm and stay like that and finish the fight with one hand. So I know I know how good I am. I know how good I am, and I'm going to keep it that way. And I'm only going to get better.
Yeah, just one more. I remember you telling us about the hand too. So yeah, as I was looking at this on paper, I'm like, Chase Hooper's road to victory is jiu-jitsu. And if that doesn't work, I don't really know where else to go. And then we saw how it went. It was pretty lopsided. How much respect did you have for a striking? Because at some point, I mean, you were kind of just putting on a clinic. I mean, he's still aggressive. He's coming forward, but you had a lot of really good time counters and body shots. The body shots, is something planned or something you saw when you're in there?
I've been working on them since my last few years in the lab. I've been working on placing those body shots, and I noticed that I had a really good, body shot. So I started working it in towards all my sparrings and everything, and it's not necessarily planned, but it's something that flows out through me. When I saw the opening, I'll take it, whatever opening it is. I know other people said it before, but it is true. I'm an in the moment fighter. You give me a shot, and I'm going to take it.
Alex, Jim Greaseober, cage side seat.
Where
back
are you?
Here, man.
Oh, you are.
We've known each other for a long time out in AZ, so I'm glad to see you in Florida doing well. I actually called your brother's fight in January in Florida for M1 Global and talked to him a lot about you and about life and your mindset, his mindset, really similar, man. You talked about how you didn't really believe in yourself. What changed with you? I just want you to go a little deeper than that because I talked to him a little bit about it, and he talks a lot about the law of attraction and about the whole mindset and just being open to things coming in and not focus so much on the minutia of the day-to-day. And I just want to know how much of that came into play for you as you, quote unquote, began to believe in yourself again.
Well, definitely. I feel like the more knowledge that I acquire, I feel like knowledge is a mirror. And this is from that movie, Cloud Atlas. Knowledge is a mirror. And the more that I learned, the clearer the picture I was able to see myself through. And the more I learned about myself and the world around me, I was able to understand who I was. And it was very difficult at first, growing up in America and then growing up in an impoverished neighborhood as well. We don't really get a chance to really believe in ourselves or love ourselves truly. And I think that was a major change. Loving myself for the wild and untamed animal that I am, in a sense. I believe all human beings, we should remain undomesticated. I think that's what kills our drive most of the time. We let mediocre people tell us that we should be like them. We shouldn't try to achieve further. And they make us feel bad for believing in ourselves, for being confident, for loving ourselves. They'll make you feel bad for trying to achieve more. It's like they want to see you do good, but not better than them. And I just had to realize that I don't care about making people feel uncomfortable because I want to shine. And that was a major part.
You feel like you're peaking right now. What are your goals for the rest of the year and beyond?
I don't think that far ahead. I just know Monday I want to be back in the gym preparing for the next fight.
Bruce Lee movie coming out. You're going to watch that? What do you think about that one?
I didn't even know. Oh, man, I didn't know. I guess I'll watch it.
Bruce Leroy, you got to watch that one. Congratulations, man.
Thank you very much.
It's actually it's going to be on the ESPN 30 for 30 coming up this weekend.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I was going to ask you about that, but I guess the final question, it was mentioned earlier, Chase was coming in. He's got all this hype. Does that upset you? And are you frustrated that your opponent, who has a fraction of your fights, is getting all these hype? He's getting all these interviews. And is this something that you would rather that you get some more of that action and that in turn Do you think the UFC does a good enough job promoting minority fighters and different other fighters?
Well, I mean, that's a whole another subject to talk about. But no, I don't feel bad that it was getting all this hype. You know, I know the demographics of America. I know the people that they want to push, and I know what looks good on paper. Honestly, I know what I am too in the 145 division. I know I don't seem much, but I know that I am the dark horse in this weight class. I'm very dangerous, and people are going to sell me short. But the horse I come riding on is black as night, and I'm bringing hell with me. You better believe it.